Not a chance. A story of presence, prejudice, and power at 30,000 feet. A first-class ticket is supposed to mean luxury, peace, and comfort. But sometimes, to some people, it means a question mark. Simone Ellis rolled her sleek, black Samsonite carry-on through the gleaming floor of Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. A supple caramel-colored trench coat draped over her tailored jumpsuit. On her arm rested a timeless Louis Vuitton handbag, not a statement, just a part of her daily rhythm. She wasn't trying to prove anything. She didn't need to. Her heels clicked with precision as she made her way toward Gate A17. A nonstop first-class flight to New York awaited her. It was a reward for years of relentless dedication, sleepless nights, and silent resilience in boardrooms that often looked past her. This was her normal, earned, not given. And yet, even as she moved with calm grace, she felt it, the microsecond shift in energy when she entered the gate area. A pause in conversation, the subtle double takes, whispers so faint they might have been imagined, except she knew better. She'd seen it, felt it, lived it. Simone approached the priority boarding lane, ticket in hand, smile soft but assertive. The gate agent, a stiff-shouldered woman with platinum blonde hair and a name tag that read Karen Dawson, barely acknowledged her before scanning the ticket. A sharp beep confirmed its validity, but Karen didn't move. "This line is for first-class passengers," she said coolly, eyes narrowing just slightly. Simone met her gaze. "I know." Karen looked down at the ticket again, then up at Simone, and past her, as if expecting someone, anyone, else to step forward. "Are you sure this is the correct ticket?" Karen pressed, voice clipped. Simone didn't blink. "First class is for," Karen hesitated, "for paying customers." There it was. A man in an Armani suit, tapping his Rolex, muttered from behind Simone. "Can we keep this moving?" Karen reluctantly handed the ticket back. "Enjoy your flight." "I intend to," Simone said, breezing past with the kind of dignity that didn't demand space. It took it. She entered the aircraft, storing her carry-on and settling into her first-class seat. Soft leather, warm lighting, quiet hum of anticipation. She took a slow breath, hoping to let it all go, but the peace didn't last. The flight attendant soon approached. Young, pale, tightly bund hair, name tag reading Melissa. Her smile looked polite on the surface, but Simone recognized the tension behind her eyes. "Excuse me, ma'am. May I see your boarding pass?" Simone tilted her head. Around her, no one else was being asked the same. "I already had it scanned at the gate," she said calmly. "It's just standard verification," Melissa replied, though her voice wavered. "We want to make sure all passengers are correctly seated." Simone didn't move at first. She just stared, long enough to let the silence weigh. Then, slowly, she retrieved the pass from her purse and handed it over. Melissa took one glance, nodded too quickly, and hurried away. From the seat across the aisle, an older black man in a charcoal sweater chuckled under his breath. His voice was warm, worn with experience. "They always do that to us, don't they?" Simone smiled faintly. "Like clockwork." "You handled it better than I would have," he muttered, flipping his newspaper. "I've had practice." He nodded. "Shouldn't have to." She agreed, but said nothing more. The aircraft doors closed. The plane began taxiing. Over the intercom, a calm, familiar voice filled the cabin. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. This is your captain, James Ellis, and I'll be flying you to New York this evening." Simone smiled, a private curl of her lips. The man across from her turned. "You know the pilot?" Her smile widened. "Something like that." She leaned back in her seat, eyes closing for a moment as the engines roared. Little did the crew know, the woman they had scrutinized was married to the man flying them 30,000 feet in the air. Simone adjusted her silk scarf, glancing out the window, willing the tension away, but she still felt the stares. Not from other passengers, just from Melissa, the same flight attendant who had checked her ticket. Each pass down the aisle came with another glance. Another hesitation, and then, as drinks were served, Melissa stopped again beside her. "Ma'am," she began, nodding toward the empty seat next to Simone. Are you waiting for someone? Simone blinked. Excuse me. I just wanted to confirm you were supposed to be seated here. Alone, I mean. Simone tilted her head. The businessman in front of her was seated alone. So was the older woman 3 rows back with pearls and a Chanel scarf. Neither were being asked. Simone's voice stayed even. Would you like to see my ticket again? Melissa flushed. No, that's not necessary. We try to ensure all first-class seating is properly accounted for. Do you? Simone asked, calmly. Melissa fumbled. Would you like a drink refill? Simone looked at her barely touched champagne. No, thank you. Melissa left, visibly flustered. Across the aisle, the older man chuckled again. They really don't know when to quit. Simone shook her head. They don't. 5 minutes later, Simone heard her name. Not spoken. Whispered that Melissa's voice floated from the galley up front. I'm just saying, I haven't seen her fly with us before. Another attendant, male, replied, tiredly. She has a valid ticket. You checked it yourself. I know, Melissa murmured. It's just unusual. She's in the right seat. Let it go before someone files a complaint. Simone stood. Every movement was calm, measured. She walked toward them without aggression. Just presence. Melissa stiffened when she felt someone behind her. Unusual? Simone asked, voice soft but firm. Melissa turned, face paling. I didn't. You were talking about me. I was just making an observation. Do you memorize all your first-class passengers? No. You just didn't think I belonged here. Melissa's mouth opened, but no denial came. Simone smiled, barely. I've been flying first class longer than you've been pouring champagne. The male flight attendant stepped back, wisely. I don't need an apology, Simone said. I need you to stop questioning passengers based on what's in your head, not what's on their ticket. She turned and walked back to her seat. The man across the aisle nodded in admiration. That was the smoothest checkmate I've seen in a while. I'm trying to be better, Simone said, picking up her Kindle. Better than what? She turned a page. Better than what they expect. Melissa didn't return. The flight pressed on. Simone read. Sipped water. Breathed. Then, an hour into the flight, the cockpit door opened. Captain James Ellis stepped into the cabin, his crisp uniform. Gold-striped epaulettes. Broad shoulders and smooth confidence. A man who belonged exactly where he stood. Passengers looked up. James smiled when his eyes found Simone. He walked to her seat, bent slightly, and kissed the back of her hand. Sorry for the delay. I noticed, she replied, smirking. Melissa's eyes widened from the galley. Captain Ellis, is everything all right? James turned to her, cool and professional. Just saying hello to my wife. Silence blanketed the cabin. Melissa flushed. I didn't realize what? That she was your wife. James tilted his head. Why would that matter? She fumbled. It doesn't, of course not. Simone sat back, watching quietly. James's tone cooled. Has her flight been comfortable? Melissa nodded quickly. Absolutely. Good. She disappeared like a puff of smoke. James turned to Simone. Everything okay? It is now. You want me to file something? She shook her head. She knows now. The older man across the aisle let out a satisfied grunt. She won't forget this flight. No, Simone said. She won't. James pressed a kiss to her hand and returned to the cockpit. Melissa returned later, quieter, humbler. Mrs. Ellis, I wanted to apologize. Simone didn't look up at first. Then she did. You did make me uncomfortable. I know. I didn't realize. That's the point, Simone said. You shouldn't need to know who someone is to respect them. My ticket was enough. Melissa nodded. You're right. Time would tell if she meant it. When the flight landed, James waited by the exit. Mrs. Ellis, he greeted playfully. Captain. A passenger passed, glancing between them. That was a very smooth landing. James smiled politely. Thank you. Simone smirked. Embarrassed. Maybe. Melissa lingered in the galley, unsure whether to make eye contact. Simone whispered. Think she's embarrassed? James smiled. Definitely. They stepped onto the jet bridge, arm in arm. And if it happens again, he asked, Simone didn't hesitate. Not a chance. End of story.